Ladies and gentlemen, look who we have on the show today. Eve from Stellar Blade.
Hello,
Rebecca,
hello.
what a pleasure to have you back. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you so much for having me back.
You are a main character in a AAA PlayStation game that's just come out. How are you feeling?
Overwhelmed. I don't think I'd actually really realized how big the game was. I had so much fun when we were doing it, but I didn't ask that many questions. Um, and then it wasn't until the kind of the trailer for it came out, and I was like, oh, this actually looks really cool.
When did you come on for the project?
The beginning of last year, I think. Yeah, beginning of last year.
The beginning of last year.
Just a normal audition. Yeah. I sent in like a voice demo and then went in for a recall. And I was originally going up for Eve or Raven. So did like a kind of callback for both of them. And then our wonderful director Effie Loy gave me the part of Eve, which I am forever grateful for. Yeah.
And this is your first time being the main character. How is that different to the other games you've done where, Baldur's Gate, you did 20 plus voices, didn't you?
Yeah. Um, yeah, so in a way, it was quite nice just going in and doing that one voice every day. Like you don't need to switch it up. Um, but it is quite an undertaking. Like it's a lot of lines, really intense. And there was a few days where we did like back to back recording. So like normally you would go in for like 4 hours, and then that would be you done, or three. But there was a few days where we were doing like 3 hours and then go and have lunch and then come back and do another 3 hours. And obviously, you're in that kind of windowless, soundproof room, and after a full day, you are like, I need to see that. But it's so much fun. It's so much fun, and everybody's so creative and so funny, and like we had a great time. Yeah.
So what's the brief for you? Are you told she's a robot, more human-like? What's kind of the approach that was taken for this from your side?
Yeah, so I was sent like a kind of pack of what the game was going to look like. And obviously then I was flicking through it and I was like, this is stunning. The graphics are so beautiful. And
Oh,
just the artwork and oh my and I got like a picture of her, and a kind of, yeah, um a rough description. I'm trying to remember if they kind of gave away everything to begin with. I do feel like because it's quite a complicated plot after a while. You're like, oh, and then oh, I see. So I sat down with the director and we had like a proper chat about it, trying to get the tone right throughout. Yeah.
because it's not shot chronologically, is it? Because it felt like it was because you kind of were upping the ante with your performance as we went along, and towards the end, the stakes really got high. So I'm guessing
Yeah.
that was just the direction you were given, or were you shot chronologically, or how did that work?
No, I think we jumped around a fair amount, and especially with kind of like all of the fight noises. We did so many of them at the
Oh,
end,
the
which was
efforts.
exhausting but awesome. But yeah, no, Effie, our director, was just very, very good at being like, okay, so we're here, and this is what's just happened, and this is how she's feeling, and this is where she's just come from. And if a player has done this, and this is where we are, etc., etc. So like I bow down to all kind of video game directors having so much information in their heads and just being able to kind of map that and navigate it and then put it across to the actor and we just go, okay. Yeah, yeah. So it's majorly thanks to her, I think.
Do you think you could direct a game?
Oh, I don't know if I want to. The pressure would be on. Um, maybe
I feel
maybe
like
at
you're
some
up for
point
the
in the future.
challenge for anything.
I mean, I am. If somebody approached me and was like, "Hey, do you want to direct this?" I'm not going to say no. But I would definitely be sweating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would be up for the challenge. Maybe like a little game, a little like quick, easy
Oh, yeah,
game.
like a little indie game. Yeah, to
Yeah,
ease into it. Yeah. But you
exactly.
haven't done any indie games. You're just doing AAA, massive games, Dragon's Dogma, Baldur's Gate. From what I've seen, all your projects are big, massive blockbuster hits so far. And you're only kind of
Yeah.
new to games, aren't you, last few years?
I know, I feel very jammy. I'm not sure how that happened. I'm very grateful. I'm not taking it for granted at all. Um, yeah, I think I just got really, really lucky. Especially I think Baldur's Gate was the first game that I got. Um,
Yeah.
and so I think it's majorly thanks to that and kind of off the back of that being like just meeting so many wonderful people and then getting to kind of jump on different things and yeah, very, very lucky.
Going back to the efforts, so how do you approach those? How do you work your voice, like get ready for that? Is there a lot of honey and tea, whatever it is, to kind of keep the throat sort of clean? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I am quite lucky, touch wood, that like I don't lose my voice. I can push it quite
Ah,
far and I'm fine. Um
well, even
if
full on
anything,
screaming, full on screams.
yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Yeah,
If
right.
engage the diaphragm. No, if anything, there's definitely times where I'm asked to just bring it down. It's like, okay, I know that you're like in the height of battle, but it's too much. It's too loud. The mic can't handle it. So I'm like, okay. Um, yeah, and but so we recorded at a studio called Molyneux on Carnaby Street, which is so everybody there is just so wonderful, and they're very very good at plying you with lemon and ginger tea and honey and
Yeah.
anything you could possibly want. Yes, so yeah, lemon and ginger tea with honey, and and then just going for it is so fun, and actually you feel really free at the end. It's like going into a rage room. Not that I have done that, but I kind of would want to one day. And just like grief, like just let any like pent up frustration that you feel towards anything, just let it rip. You feel great afterwards. Tired, but great.
I was going to say, what's the difference between one of those sessions just versus a normal session? I feel like that session, you're in bed by 7. I would be probably.
Yeah. So normally what you would do is, if you've got a kind of 3 hour session, you'd do 2.5 hours of dialogue, and then the last half hour you'd do some efforts, just so that you're not blocking it all together. But with this, it was interesting because we were obviously dubbing it from Korean. Um, and the effort noises in Korean sound quite different to maybe some of the effort noises that we would
They do.
expect to hear in a Western
Really?
like dub. Um, so we had to ask the question at the beginning of like, how would you like me to like? Do you want me to copy exactly what the Korean Eve does, or would you like me to kind of do what I would do in that situation? And so it took them a while to come back with an answer. Hence why we had like loads of efforts that were just kind of like pushed to the end of recording. um, and we did a kind of amalgamation. I think I copied her on some things if they just really wanted it to sound exactly like that, and then others they were like, oh, just do how like what you think would be normal in this situation and how you would normally do it. Yeah.
So if we were a fly on the wall, but we couldn't hear inside the booth, what would it look like from outside in? You doing those efforts? Are you using your full body? Like, are you really getting
Yeah.
into it? Are you you doing the slashing with the sword?
Yeah, I mean that's the hard part
Ah,
though is that like obviously the mics are so sensitive, so you can't don't wear anything that like crinkles,
no.
especially for me because I move around a lot. And yeah, my main thing is like I have to keep my feet planted on the ground. I move them far too much, especially when I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna do it. It's so embarrassing.
No, 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 no.
But
Yeah.
but yeah, I do. I move around a lot as though I'm there, and then need to scale it back a little bit just so that the mics don't pick it up. But it's good to put your whole body into it and then at least like know what the sound should be. Yeah.
What was your first impression when you saw what she looked like?
I mean, stunning. Um, um,
Because it's
yes.
is it based off the director's wife or something like that? Or a model? The body's based off a model or something? I feel like?
I think
Yeah.
yes. I think it's based
Yeah.
off a model, which
Yeah.
makes sense because she looks incredible.
Have you seen the game in action? Have you seen the physics on display? Let's call it.
Because
I'm trying to
what
be
is it that they're
delicate.
calling it? Yeah, like what is it? Accurate jiggle physics or
Jiggle
something?
physics. Yeah, I didn't want to say it.
Jiggle
You said it
physics.
first. There you go. Yeah.
I said it. I said it.
Is that your
I like it. I
first?
think it's funny.
Is this your first sort of exposure to jiggle physics in gaming?
Yeah, never had to come across that before. Wasn't really a thing with Alfira.
Oh man, gaming is a funny thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. We had so many lovely comments from our last chat about Baldur's Gate 3 and Alfira. I'm guessing the love has kept pouring in for you on that game since we last spoke.
Yeah, it really has. And like
Mm.
just the thing that blows me away is the artwork for it. It is just people are so talented. So yeah, people send me like screenshots of the kind of artwork that they've done on Twitter, and it makes me very happy. Yeah, I'm so glad that she's brought so much joy to other people because she was very, very dear to my heart, and she brings me a lot of joy. Yeah.
And I'm guessing you saw like all the awards that they won and sweeping the awards festival.
Right.
I
Right.
I've never seen
Very
anything like it.
impressive.
Seriously,
Yeah, it's
it won
mad.
everything.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Ah,
Um, yeah, I mean, obviously, I am very apart from that, so I'm just seeing it all on social media and being
yeah.
like, "Well done, guys, you did it!" Yeah, it's very impressive. Well deserved. They worked so hard on it, so hard. Yeah.
And you still haven't played it, have you, Rebecca?
No. I have watched people play it. I have watched people play it. I've had like so many discussions with people about it who like are so passionate about it that is fantastic. I love listening to anybody that's so passionate. Um, but I stand by that I am just truly terrible at games.
You
It
told me
stresses
you were
me
going to
out.
play it as
Did
soon as
I?
we were done with our interview.
Oh
You
no, I
lied to
lied.
me.
I'm so sorry.
But you've beaten Stellar Blade, haven't you? I mean, you've done everything in Stellar
Mm,
Blade. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure of
Mm-hmm.
it. You got all three endings? Yeah.
Yep.
Played
Yep.
it three
Yep.
times?
Yep.
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 Yep. Yep.
Beautiful.
And I know what all the three endings are. So
Okay, on the endings. So I believe the true ending is where she becomes a protector, takes Adam's hand, kind of becomes a protector, saves Lily. Would you say that's the sort of definitive ending in your eyes?
yeah, I don't know which one I prefer. I also don't want to give it away. I don't want to give away all the three endings.
Yeah.
Um, uh, yes, I think that that is kind of the choice that I would have made. I think.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
yeah, I think so. And it's pretty badass. I don't know. Have you seen
Yeah.
the cutscenes?
Yes. So that I mean, this is the joy of doing a dub is that obviously it's kind of already done. So I got to watch so much of
Oh,
it.
that's cool.
And it was really, really, really cool. And a whole different kettle of fish to how kind of games would. So, like with Baldur's Gate, for example, you have nothing. You're just doing your lines and kind of listening to the director and hoping that it makes sense. Um, whereas with this, it would be that I was literally watching a scene, and I'd have the lines at the bottom, the kind of a line sweeps across to tell you when to begin, and then two gray bars start coming in that tell you the amount of time that you have left to stay the line in, because you had to fit in with what the Korean timings were. And it's a whole different kettle of fish because you're wanting to be as creative as possible and say things as naturally as possible whilst also keeping to like a really specific time, and watching exactly what she's doing so that it makes sense. It's quite hard.
Plus, you're the character. You've got to
Yeah.
act. There's
Yeah.
a technical side as well. Do they
Yeah.
tend to be slower or faster with the speaking? Like, what do you have to slow down or you have to speed up or?
It changes so much because there's some things
Yeah.
where like it would take us a sentence to say, whereas they've got like two words that kind of sum that up, and vice
Mm.
versa. It's just so different. So there was a lot of rewrites kind of in the room, just with us being like, I physically cannot say that many lines in that amount of time. It would just sound really strange. So yeah, it was a lot of us just kind of going, okay, how do we condense this and make it sound normal? Yeah, yeah, really, really tricky. But
Is
also
there
just yeah, it's fun.
is there a point where you're like, we're onto something special here?
I
Do you
think so.
do you get that feeling in any project you're on?
I mean, I just love working. So like, regardless of what the project is, I
Yeah.
have such a nice time working on it, and rarely really think about the end result because it's kind of regardless of what happens. I've had
You had fun.
loads of fun here with these people and doing the thing that we're working on. So yeah, I think yeah, working on it, I was just like, this is really cool. She's really awesome. This is a fun story. And then it ended, and I was sad that it was over, but really didn't think about it like coming out.
But the thing is, on that ending, it said something like to be continued or something. So there's a chance you could come back for a sequel and another one. Have you thought about that? Like, this could be a big franchise that you've just.
That would be awesome.
How
Hadn't
cool.
thought about it.
No. You have or you haven't?
No, I hadn't.
You haven't.
No, I think doing this career, I've so learned to just
Take it as it comes. Yeah.
take it as it comes,
Yeah.
be excited for stuff, and hold little candles of hope and be like, oh, maybe. Um, but really just it sounds really uppity. Just live in the moment, man. But it's true. Living in the moment is much less stressful because otherwise you're like, oh, but then this thing has to happen, and then it doesn't, and then you feel really disappointed. Whereas if you had just kind of hoped that maybe it would, but not really thought about it, and then it does happen, then it's like, yes, that's amazing. Yeah.
Is that because of a scarring experience, or have you always been like that?
Um, no, I've definitely had to learn to
Mm,
manage my expectations. Yeah,
mm.
no, so I've been acting. I did film and TV. I still do film and TV. But
Yeah.
that's what I kind of started in before going into games. And yeah, especially in that, like, I learned to manage my expectations and know that like you can put so much work into something and kind of not really get anything back, especially with auditioning and getting really really close to something and then not getting it in the end and you get nothing for coming second, which is hard. Yeah. So no, I think I've just acting is a strange business. It's wonderful, but yeah, temper expectations at all times. And then exciting things that do happen just seem so much bigger when they do.
So from your perspective, where's your career at now? Like, you want to pursue more games because you still got the TV side, the movie side, the game side. They're kind of two different lanes almost, are they? I mean, can you
Yeah,
operate in both at the same time?
I think so.
Mm.
I mean, I was doing a show in Ireland at the same time, I think, as we were recording
Oh,
Stellar
so
Blade.
you're already doing it.
Um, Yeah, so you can do it. I think, like, obviously, it would be very difficult if you were like the lead in some massive Netflix series and then you were also like the lead in some massive game, like, and you're doing them in the same like 3 months. That would be next to
No
impossible.
sleep. Yeah.
Um, but no, I was like a small part in this show that was filming in Ireland, and so I was kind of back and forth. And then on my days back, I would then just go in and do Stellar Blade, and then come back and then go there. Um, so yeah, it's entirely possible, and they are just so different, I think, as well. Like that's why I love doing them both. You get something different from both of them and two completely different creative ways. Um, it's yeah. So I don't want to give up the film and TV, but I adore doing video games. I absolutely adore it.
So you're Scottish, and
Yes,
obviously Eve's British, right?
yes,
And you were born in Norway?
yes.
And then you didn't live in Ireland, did you?
No,
No.
no.
Okay.
But people do seem to think that because I think I've got kind of a strange accent now, which it gets very Scottish when I go home. So I'm from Glasgow, but
What's very Scottish? Is it
I
that
think
sort
it's
of?
more the words that I use, maybe. Like I
Ah,
think there's a
okay.
lot there's a lot of Scottish
Yeah.
slang that
Yeah.
I've had to learn that people here have no idea what that means.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think the accent just gets a little bit deeper. I don't have a really really strong accent anyway.
Yeah.
But no, a lot of people have said like, oh, whereabouts in Ireland are you from? And I think it's because I have rounded R's.
Ah, yeah.
And yeah, maybe I'm just a bit of an amalgamation after living here for a little while and having to lighten it just so that people aren't like, huh, come again?
I was on your TikTok. I couldn't believe the voice that was coming out of your mouth for this kids show.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
how the hell does that? How do you? I mean, I couldn't believe it. Yeah, it's American Kid you're playing almost.
Yeah, yeah. I I play kids a fair amount. I'm not sure where that came from. But I love yeah, tapping into the kind of like American kids cartoon land. So I was really pleased to do that. I've got another animation that I haven't been able to post anything about yet, but that should come out at either the end of this year or next year, which is a very similar voice to that. She's like a kind of 12-year-old squeaky American, super excited. Yeah, it's very, very high energy. I love doing that voice. If anything, that those voices are almost trickier than doing efforts all day though. Like if you've got a kind of
Really?
4 hour recording session of the really high squeaky voice, um
Just
afterwards you're like,
taxing?
yeah, I think you just have to just whatever the positioning is, you're just really, really raised for like an extended period of time. Um yeah, yeah, it can
So
be quite taxing.
Eve must have been fun then, because it's more of a relaxing voice for the most part. I mean,
So
yeah,
chill.
yeah,
She's so chill in so
yeah.
many situations. That was kind of one of the big things actually of, starting out the game and like finding the character and everything. I was just kept having to bring her back and bring her back and bring her back because she is just very, very calm, which was lovely. It was great.
She's a badass,
Um,
honestly.
yeah, yeah.
I think it's a hit new franchise. And I also love the game was so polished. I've beaten it. Polished as in no bugs or glitches or anything. No microtransactions, like egregious pay to win stuff. It was just a simple game. We're going to deliver a quality game to you. And I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. So
That's so cool.
hopefully we can hopefully they continue the I think it could be a franchise. I think there's a lot more to explore with Eve. That there's there's
Yeah.
these tidbits that just aren't really explored fully, aren't there?
Mhm.
Just I think we really could explore in a future game. What what's your relationship to sci-fi, the sci-fi genre? I'm curious because my wife, she hates sci-fi and I absolutely love it. So where are you? Are you in the middle, left, right?
Oh, I'd say I very much enjoy sci-fi. Um, I mean, I guess there's such different genres within sci-fi, but like I
Yeah, yeah.
just yeah,
I know what you mean.
just,
Like, do you like Blade Runner, for example?
yes,
Okay.
very, very cool. Yeah.
Okay. What about something like more Alien?
Yes.
Aliens.
Um, how about Doctor Who?
Oh, okay. Okay. Right. How much of a fan are you of Doctor Who? Because I know that's a lot of TV, right?
It's a lot. I was a massive fan of I watched it a lot when David Tennant was the Doctor. And then I've kind of like dipped in and out. But I'm very excited for the Shutigatwa series that's about to start. Yeah, so maybe
Is
I
he
like
from Sex
really
Education?
he is
Yes. Yes.
and just what an incredible actor. So no,
Yeah.
maybe I like really wholesome sci-fi like that and like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Okay. I'm getting the vibe now. Yeah, yeah. But and then I see you were in this film where what was it, Black Shore
Yes, yeah, that was the series. That was what I was doing in
series? That
Ireland.
looked harrowing. I
Mhm.
mean, it
Yeah,
looked kind of full
yeah.
on. It did look like those movies you're talking about. Far out.
No, I do a lot of like so many of the TV things that I do are like just such bad things happen to my cat. She's all like the characters I play are always like really sad all the time, and just bad stuff happens to them. I'm like, why? Why does it keep?
But
Why do
you're
I keep
so
getting
happily
cast as these?
you're so happy and high energy. What's going on there?
I don't know. Uh, I want to just play happy-go-lucky characters. Um, that's maybe why I enjoy doing the kids' cartoons so much. I get to do that. Yeah, I'm not sure, but yeah, yeah. Black Shore was yeah. My character does not have a good time. She's crying a lot in it. I'm trying to think if
Well,
she smiles in any scene.
what's that show about? Because I do want to catch it if I can. It's hard to watch these shows down here in Australia where, you know. We don't get much, but
I mean, I haven't been able to watch it either. Like, I would very much like to watch that. This isn't me just being like, oh, I don't play the games, I don't watch the shows. That sounds so bad. No, I really want to watch this. It's just, it's on RTE, which is just like an Irish channel, so I can't watch
yeah,
it here either.
yeah.
Um, so it's not my fault.
Is it
Yeah,
modern or is it set in the?
modern.
It
Yeah,
is modern.
current
Yeah,
day, current day crime drama. um
my favorite.
Set in Ireland. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's really, really good. The scripts are fantastic. It was really cool. And you don't see, or at least I didn't see who done it. I was like, oh, no way. So yeah, it's cool.
But you must have watched The Witcher, surely.
Yes, yes.
Don't lie to me, Rebecca.
I watched the first season.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and then I didn't, maybe I just actually don't really like watching things that I'm in or playing things that I'm in.
It's
It
happy to,
makes me
but it's happy. I'm happy. You're admitting that finally, but I don't know why. You're fantastic in everything you're in. What is
think
it?
I'm just very judgy of myself. Um, again, it just goes back to kind of enjoying the moment where I worked on it and having such a nice time, and I can leave it in that like perfect bubble where I just so enjoyed it without then watching it or playing it later and going, oh man, I should have done this. Oh no, that was rubbish. Why did I do it like that? Which is helpful sometimes, but I think much at the beginning and have like built up a list in my mind of like that doesn't work, that works, etc. That sometimes I just need to give myself a little break.
In Stellar Blade, I love the scene where she finds out that the Natibas are actually humans. You remember that
Yeah,
scene? I'm
yeah.
wondering, like, what are there any scenes that stand out for you in the process? Because you're obviously seeing, as you said, you get to see them kind of play out as you're recording. So what stood out for you in terms of there's some epic scenes towards the end there. Tell you what.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think when you see, again, I don't want to give anything away, but when you
No,
see
no.
Adam
Yes.
near the end, um,
So are you
that
hearing
was
Korean Adam or English Adam or what do we hear?
Korean.
Okay.
So yeah, sometimes I had, yeah, so I had kind of their lines at the bottom as well, so I could know what it is that they are saying, but I can hear the tone in Korean.
Yeah.
Um, and sometimes if it was a really back and forthy scene where it's kind of useful to have somebody to bounce off of, then I'd ask like one of the people in
Someone,
the
yeah.
to kind of
Yeah.
be in my headphones and kind of say the English lines. Um, so yeah, we had a kind of amalgamation depending on what worked for the scene. But yeah, I was playing off a lot of a lot of Korean, which is such a beautiful language, and I wish I understood
Oh,
more.
they're fantastic too.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, I kind of want to play in the Korean sub my next playthrough just to hear that version as well.
yeah. Although
Um,
what was amazing is that so Effie, who's our director, is a theatre director, and so she loves working in the room with two actors together, which is so rare for video games. So when Nazar, who plays Adam, was cast, she got us both into the room to do those like big final scenes, so that we could actually be like looking at each other and bouncing off each other and saying
oh,
lines, which I think made a world of a difference. Yeah.
just for that part.
Hmm.
Oh, see, I was gonna say there was something slightly more intense, more urgency or something to that scene.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can feel it.
You can
Yeah,
feel it,
yeah.
can't you?
So that's Effie Loy, our amazing director, pushing for that, and it paid off. Oh.
How did she evolve over the recording process for you? I mean, how long was it? And do you think you kind of went on that journey with her or
Yeah, I think we were recording for 3 months, but like on and off towards the end. Like with anything, you'd start to get you just start to read a line and just automatically know how it is that they're going to say it and what they're feeling and thinking and everything, and they just become really like settled in you, and you become settled in them. So yeah, I think I felt really close to her towards the end, which you often do with characters, and then it's really sad because then that's the end, or not, hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah. So no, yeah, I think I felt very close to her towards the end. Yeah.
And what's the final? Do you remember the final session?
Yeah. What did we do in the final session?
It's never anything spectacular, is it? It's always
It's
it's
not
always
because it's all
like, yeah,
pickups.
yeah, it's all pickups and something, yeah.
Yeah. So our final session, yeah, would have just been. It was probably like 2-3 months after the other
Yeah.
final session. Yeah, and we were just kind of doing, oh, they've decided this line doesn't work. Let's change it to this, or this delivery was me. Do it again.
Yeah, in people's minds,
Yeah.
you're on the ground crying and delivering your final last breath of a line, you know.
Yeah, no, no, I know, and because it never seems like the end when you're there. You're like,
I
oh,
know.
we're done, and then it's not
Yeah.
until like a few days later where you're at home and you're like, oh, oh, we're done. That's sad.
So where would you take it next? If you were in charge, where do you think she should go next?
I don't know, but then surely it depends on what ending you've chosen. Um,
Mm.
yeah, it depends on the end. Um, I don't know.
What would you like?
I
What would you
don't
like to
know.
explore more? I should say. Is there any
Um,
characteristics of her?
yeah, I think it would be fun to see her maybe loosen up a little, have some fun. Because she's so focused, she's literally she is here for like one purpose, and she's just so dead set on that. Um, so it would be interesting to just see her kind of like form new relationships with other people, and yeah, let her guard down a little bit, have a good time, um, and see what it's like if she has a different like what her next objective is and how she would then approach that.
And if there is a second game, I say you join me for a playthrough. How does that sound?
Okay, yes, yes.
So you
Honestly,
don't.
I love watching people play
That's what I'm
these
saying. I'll
games. I
play, so
love it.
you don't have
Yes.
to play. Yeah,
And then I'll just
you
be
can
on the side doing
commentate.
really
Yeah.
silly reactions. But it's when I have a remote or like a controller in my hand, I'm like, I freak out. I freak out. It's too scary. And the fighting is too much. It terrifies me. I don't know what to do.
No, it is. It is a
Uh,
tough game, especially for newcomers. But what are your thoughts on AI?
mm,
Because we're in this kind of world, AI robots with voice acting, this kind of thing. Have you thought? Has this been something that's come up with you and your husband, or have you thought about this at all?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is it's quite scary to think. I mean, I feel like there's so much of my voice recorded out there already that somebody could absolutely probably just put it
They've
into
got
some
enough.
AI and
Yeah.
create,
Same here. I mean,
which
I've
is
done 200 episodes. Yeah. Seriously.
right, which is
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm quite terrified of AI. Luke, my husband, is like, no, people are terrified of any kind of, new technological revelation or revolution, and it works out fine in the end. And, I'm like, okay. Um, yeah, I think we just have to be very, very careful not to steal lots of people's jobs. Um,
Mhm.
but I think that there's so many of the studios that I'm working with are um, I think very loyal to their actors, and hopefully wouldn't do that or want to do that. Um, we'll see.
No, I don't think they will. No,
No,
it's just not the same.
it's not. And also, I think I've had a lot of people kind of I've seen a lot of people discussing it and saying that as a player, even if it's very, very well done, if it's
Yes.
if it's AI, and actually you almost, even if you read somewhere that it is AI, you're automatically like, oh, okay, so I can't picture that person saying that. I know that that emotion isn't real, that is, has been, falsely created, and it detracts from the whole game, I think. So I
Mm.
really, really hope that both, you know, actors, studios, and the players all put their foot down. It's like, we don't want that. Um, and
Well,
that,
I kind of think if a big game came out and said, we're using AI voice actors, I think people would revolt and not buy the game.
ah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think what I've seen as well is that it's incredible technology, but it's also scary. Is like taking a section of dialogue of me speaking in English, for example, and then running it through this AI, and it turns
Oh,
out me speaking like
yes.
Spanish or Italian or whatever, which would be interesting if they decide that that's the way that they're going to dub games, is to use the original voice actors but put it through some kind of AI and then make them speak another language. Because then that would take the work away from voice actors
Dubbing.
in other.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
What I find really creepy is like, what if it's like a video of you saying something you didn't say or doing something you didn't do, and
yeah.
you can't tell if it's real or not. Like, it's really freaky.
I
There
know.
has to be
Yeah,
some restrictions or something, doesn't there?
yeah, yep, yep. It's a it's a
Yeah.
hot, scary topic that like I I read up on it a lot, and but equally part of me is wanting to bury my head in the sand a little bit, which
I
isn't
know.
healthy because I
No, I'm the
you should be
same.
shouting about it,
I'm the same,
but it's also
honestly.
quite terrifying. Yeah,
I only
yeah,
brought it up because it's relevant to this, slightly relevant to this game.
yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah.
why don't we finish off? What's something you love doing to round this one out? What's something that you're into at the moment?
And at the moment,
Mm.
um, I mean, what I've been super into just over the like since the lockdown lifted is going to the theater, and
Nice.
finding, yeah, as many kind of like small shows or big shows as possible, because I think over lockdown I very much realized, like, I live in London. It has the West End, and so many off West End shows that I just do not utilize nearly enough. And so as soon as lockdown lifted, I was like, I'm gonna go to the theater. I'm gonna support loads of like smaller shows, bigger shows,
Good on you.
um,
Yeah.
and it brings me a lot of joy. Yeah, I love going to the theater.
And what's your favorite?
Also because I don't do theater.
Oh,
Um,
you've never done it?
uh, I did it as a kid and kind of like early teen, and it's not by choice that I don't do theatre. I adore the theatre. But I think just the way that, so casting directors for film and TV and voice, and then casting directors for theatre are quite separate. And I think just the way that my career went, I kind of went in that direction.
Mm.
Um, so so yeah, if somebody approached me and was like, "Hey, would you be interested in doing a theatre show?" I would probably do it.
Oh,
But
okay.
but it hasn't happened as of yet. But that's fine. I'll go and sit in the audience and clap loudly. Um, my
Favorite of all time, Rebecca.
All time is quite a recent show. But I have
Yeah.
now seen it 6 times, which I have never done before with
Six
a show.
times live.
6 times. Um, is
Wow.
a musical called Operation Mincemeat.
Operation
Which
Mincemeat.
just Operation Mincemeat. It just won the Olivier for Best New Musical, um, and it is just joy in show form.
Comedy
It is
musical.
comedy, but it's funny, it's clever, it is heart-wrenching. Like, you go from laughing your ass off to weeping. um
Oh, wow.
it's just so cleverly done, and it's written by like a group of pals, who just put their all into it. Didn't have like connections to the theater, somehow managed to get on the West End purely through like
Wow.
writing something so incredible and having people kind of see it and go, "Oh my God, like, we should give you a chance."
That's
And you can
impressive.
tell, like, you're watching the show and you can tell that they are all so close, that they've put so much work into this, and that they're all just kind of standing there like, we're on the West End. How on earth did this happen? And I love that story. I love the underdog story, especially in the West End at the minute, because so many things are, like the big glitzy musicals have loads of money behind them, and funding and big producers and all of that stuff. And this show is very much like the little show that could.
Underground.
And I
Yeah.
like that. I
I
like
love
that.
that. I love that. Oh, 6 times. You must have loved it.
I've 6 times, like, over the course of a year.
Hey, still,
Yeah,
that's a hell of a
yeah.
I'm gonna have to go see it. Hopefully, it continues on and it doesn't just
Yeah, I
end.
think it will. I think it will, definitely. Yeah.
What would you like to say to the fans of Stellar Blade that have enjoyed your performance?
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for all of the really kind messages, especially on Twitter, because Twitter can be kind of mean sometimes. And lots of people have just been very, very nice, which has
Stay
made me
away
very
from Twitter,
happy.
Rebecca, please.
I know, I know. I don't go looking for these things. It's if people kind of like tag me in something, I'll just automatically see it sometimes. But
Yeah.
people have just been very, very generous. And, I've had people just actually, message to say thank you. And I'm like, that's very, very kind.
Yeah.
So that makes me happy because it is terrifying working on something and then putting it out there. You have no idea what the reaction's going to be like. Yeah.
Before I let you go, where can we find you on socials?
You can find me at Rebecca Hanssen on Twitter, Rebecca.Hanssen on Instagram, because somebody already had Rebecca Hanssen.
That
Um,
bloody bastard.
and that's pretty much it. I think I have a TikTok, which is like Rebecca Hanssen, but I don't post on it very often because I'm terrible at TikTok. But it is there. And the videos that I have on there
You're
are
not
quite
terrible at TikTok.
good. I just don't really post on it
You
that
just
much.
don't
But the things that I
post.
have posted, yeah,
The things you have posted did well, like the voice acting tips and
yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And then you just gave it up one day. Kind of like me.
No,
Yeah.
I just did. I don't think I don't think I ever did it to give it up. I think I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I could make a video and post it on TikTok, and then I did, and then it was like, cool, moving on.
Yeah. It is a bit like that.
Yeah.
Uh, Thank you very much again, Rebecca, for taking up some time. We
Thank
really,
you so
really
much for having
appreciate
me.
it. Before I let you go, I've said that 10 times. Could Eve say anything to Dan? Is that possible?
Oh, what would you like her to say? What would Eve say?
What's that
Um,
memory line that you said a few times?
oh yes.
Yeah?
Uh, Dan, may your memories live on forever.
There it is. That was said a few times in this game. That was said a
Yeah,
few times. A few
yeah.
emotional moments.
Mm-hmm.
Thank
Mm-hmm.
you, Rebecca. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. This has been lovely. I will speak to you again soon, hopefully.